Hi, welcome to our podcast. I'm Mary Abazia, and of course, with me is Tom Spitali and Sean Wellham. And we are delving into the world of how AI can help with strategy. And we're taking different parts of it. And one of our favorite parts, of course, is differentiation. And so we're going to go ahead and go into that and show and talk about ways that we are seeing AI help really companies differentiate. And sometimes it gets stuck. So Tom, you want to get us rolling?
Yeah, over the last, 20, 25 years that the three of us have been running workshops, I think what we all feel is that when we get to the point where we start talking about strategy, we've done so much work to that point, right? We've examined customers, competitors, markets, and we've segmented, we've targeted. And oftentimes we feel like the strategy just kind of falls off the page at that point, that it's pretty straightforward. And sometimes it does. And what we have often done with our clients is kind of give them some broad categories of how companies differentiate, maybe a little bit um, of an example or case study here, and let them go do it. What's so fabulous about AI is what we've been able to do is put our both of our books, in which we've done scores of case studies in our books, our blogs, in which we've done hundreds of case studies in our blogs over the years, and make all of that available in our Scout database. And what that the exciting thing that I think that's happening now is that we all, the three of us, can be really almost more proactive in helping our clients come up with a differentiating strategy because AI, once we understand market, customer, competitor, advantages, disadvantages, all of that, we've been asking our Scout system, find us an analogy to this situation in a positive case study where someone has faced a similar challenge and has overcome it. And it starts to provide a more specific strategic advice. People can get the confidence that somebody's faced this challenge before. Um, and it's been kind of fun for us, I think, to be able to be, more part of suggesting strategies than even we have in the past. You guys feel the same way?
Totally.
Yeah, I think the it's one of the elements of our process when we come to thinking of differential advantage and creating differential advantage is one where I still think that let's be clear, the human element of all our tools is still critical. It's enhanced by AI. I know I say this frequently, but this is probably the best example of where you really need the human input in terms of thinking through the advantage. So any help you can give that individual, that group, is valuable. And curating a back catalogue of examples and similar case studies is just fantastic because it gives you access to situations that might be similar that you could adapt and build on. But also we tend to break it down and we give these categories like what could you do to improve what you currently do, the sort of make it better and so on and so forth. Have you used AI for that, Tom, specifically? When we sort of say, do it better, the first step, if you like, just do what you do, but just do it better. Do you find AI has helped in any of the workshops with that particular one
Absolutely. What we did was educate Scout on chapter 6 or chapter 7 of the first book, the one where we talk about the three categories, Sean, just do it
yeah.
better, reorient the customer, or change the rules. And what we've been doing recently is asking AI, okay, analyze this situation. Here's this client's ability to win in competitive advantages segmentation. Give us one idea in each category. Tell us, and it knows now, Scout now knows that, just doing it better, it means improving on existing capabilities and just, and it knows that reorienting the customer means let's try to convince somebody that something's more important than customers that something's more important than they think it is, and change the rules is that it knows now we want really big ideas,
Yeah, the radical stuff, and that's the point. Is when you think about all the uses that AI can do, I still come across people that think AI will solve their issues for them.
Mm.
How can I do this? And they'll say, here's how you do it. I mean, it will try to give you advice. It's not
Hi.
always well informed,
Mm.
but where it's really strong in these situations is this almost inexhaustible brainstorm. Because you can say to it, give me 10 ideas. You list the benefits sought and the relative competitive position, right? That's standard in our process. Those of you that have been through know exactly what I'm talking about. And we can say, give me 10 ideas to improve this. And then you can say, give me 10 more. And if you said, give me 50 ideas, it would. Now, just like any brainstorm, the quality falls off a cliff when you get to number 46 and 47. But that is where the creative spark comes from. And I find it's that fusion where Scout can suggest a whole ton of stuff, and then a group of people synthesize it and socialize
Mm.
it and say, well, what about this? And it sparks ideas. It's a really great brainstorming tool in this
Yeah,
scenario
and
specifically.
I want to add to that, especially for people that have gone through our process, the way that that brainstorming is productive or very tangible is you get those ideas and it's like having a creative thinker in the room with you. And then you go back to that ability to win and you start to simulate. Well, if we could just communicate better, our scores will go from 7 to 8. And how much of an impact will that have? And then, or you really change the game a lot more and you can see how your scores go up. How you then take that forward is you can actually ask AI, how will that impact my market? So if you're trying to actually figure out if you can pay for those investments, that's where you're in the master class of figuring it out. I can take these ideas, use
Yeah.
the great, simulator of ability to win, and then go back and ask AI based on these improved scores, what will that do to my market share and what type of investment is required? And you kind of can do all the math then. You have
It's
everything
so
there to make
cool.
some good decisions.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, what's required is, once you've done that ability to compete and you have 2 to 3 competitors in your own score on there, if you can feed in what the current market share situation is, AI can do that math and say, oh, well, this score must equate to this market share. And if you improve here, that's going to project out to this. And it's really a level of specificity that's exciting because people can start to get a sense of, if I do these 2 things, is that enough? Is that going to move the needle enough? Or do I need to do more? You know? So the other thing that's really cool, the 3 of us, I know you guys have had this before. We maybe did a session last week and you're laying in bed or in the shower and you think, oh man, I wish I would have used that now. I wish I would have remembered that case study last week because, we have those things rummaging around in our brains and sometimes they're not necessarily available to us, at the moment that we want them. And that's what Scout does. It's all there now. It's like we said about market research. We said people used to have 15 reports, beside them as they were working through a strategy. No guarantee that they were going to find that piece on slide 15 in report number 4. That was really the key piece, right? Now AI can help you to make sure you don't forget any of that. Same thing with these examples, these hundreds of examples that you guys and I have curated over the years.
I have an example. I have a good one. I know you guys don't know this is a new example for you guys. So we have a bunch of research that is available through a project I do on the side, and we're trying to figure out how this one club that I'm helping is figuring out how to differentiate themselves. And one of the big things that we've seen is flexible dining. And we had a discussion. Somebody said, well, what does flexible dining mean? And voila, it went through 500 surveys and all of the open ends, and it came back with flexible dining is this, and it had quotes. So you can, in real time, if you have a data set that you're working with, and somebody says, I think I have an idea, maybe we can really, differentiate on our dining experience, as an example here. But what would that mean to the customer? You can use AI to go back in and and use your data set to be very specific about what types of things that would mean. So it's, I mean, it was crazy. It was like 5 seconds later, I'm like, I have an answer. So anyway, that's my latest fun part of using
It is
AI
a
to differentiate.
superpower. It's just a superpower, the ability to process that much information, and you can use it in reverse. I said that you can use it as a brainstormer. Just say, "Hey, Scout, give me 50 examples of how we could improve this competitive position," and use that as a spark for further discussion. You can also have a traditional brainstorm with everyone in the group just throwing ideas, but loading them in to Scout and then saying, we sometimes say now we want to create thematic clusters. We're all talking about improving the customer experience. Let's put those up there, and we time to product or delivery time. Let's put those down. You can actually do that with Scout. So you can use it at either end of the process to either stimulate a brainstorm or, to your point, Mary, take a big bunch of data and, in the case of a brainstorm, completely unstructured, have someone loading that in as you go, clickety click on the keyboard, and before you know it, you come back and say, give me a visual that shows these in clusters or summarize some of the, and you just make sense of noise and it filters instantly. Powerful.
Yeah, Tom and I did that. We were working with a client, and they were trying to figure out how to differentiate. And they had like we were doing a thing called from and to, where our customers now from, where what do our customers think of us now, and what do we want them to move to? And so we had a bunch of words that we wanted. We loaded that into AI during the work session and said, if we wanted to move to something, give us some examples of positioning statements and give us some images of what that might represent. And it was like we were done by noon. We were like, everyone was like, oh, I like the statement, I like the image. We got to clean it up, of course, but it was that was. Do you remember that, Tom? That was pretty
I
cool.
I do, and I think it's an example of how it's transforming, how rapidly we can help people. And again, we always try not to be super commercial on this broadcast and this podcast. And but I will say that if you're listening to this and you've got some kind of a problem child product, maybe a mature product that's underperforming, or just something that, you think you've tried everything, what we can do with our Scout system is find you some new avenues very, very quickly, days, not months. And that's exciting for us too. We've been involved in some projects lately where, people are thinking, should I even continue to market this product? Right? It's old. It's, not necessarily number one in the market. Is there any avenue for growth here? What should we do? And our Scout system helps people come to those conclusions really, really quickly.
Yeah, all the way through. I'm going to just add to what you're saying, Tom. It helps, like if we're brainstorming, we'll talk to a client and they say, "Have you ever seen company that is the underdog be able to overcome, the big company?" And we can in real time brainstorm on the front end. We can help simulate it for brainstorming, and we have a bunch of ideas, as Sean's saying, and we look for the themes and then simulate what that impact can be. And then on the back end, how, what's the to-do list? How do we, these are all great ideas, but you have to land it and make sure you have work streams to move forward with and metrics. And it helps all the way through to the end. So that differentiation doesn't get lost, because, you know, companies always come up with great ideas, but the ones that don't get moved on are the issues. So how do you create those pilots to take those differentiation ideas forward?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another aspect, the execution part of it, because we've often said it's not really true, but people say ideas are cheap, but execution is really expensive and hard, right? The idea that you can come up with ideas easily, well, you can't. Not good ideas anyway. You can come up with, if you take the premise that you can come up with any ideas easily, of course it is, but they're not necessarily good. Good ideas are hard to come by, and that's one thing that we're very good at surfacing. But there is also that translation from the idea into the execution. And of course, AI can help there too, in terms of even giving a high level outline of steps and timelines for implementing this stuff. It gives you a real sense of direction and action, not just ideas and theories. And that's, we probably don't talk enough about that, because it's also true that ideas are worth nothing until they're implemented.
Mm.
And that's a good part of what we've managed to leverage AI to do is to move just from the aha to the let's roll our sleeves up and get stuck in.
Yep, Sean, and that's interesting that you should say that because one of these projects about a product where a company's going, should I continue to market this or just, put my emphasis elsewhere? When it got down to, we had defined a strategy to differentiate this project or this product, and we had actually detailed out the execution plan. They were better able to assess. And I think really the one I'm thinking of, Mary, is the one that went, that's a little more work than we really have the resources to put into this product. But it gave them such a finite sense of, I got to do these things requiring these resources, and this is the potential upside. And they really had a clear-eyed look within a couple of weeks of the cost benefit situation there. And that's what we're seeing these days is rapidly getting to, yes, new creative ideas where you thought you had run out of them and a real specific sense of what it's going to take to, execute on that idea and whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are talking to all kinds of different companies in different industries about how they're using AI, and especially with differentiation, because that is the crux of what any company's trying to do to grow or to to survive sometimes. So if you are stuck or you just want to brainstorm with us on how you might use AI to do differentiation, we love the topic and always appreciate getting to talk through it with you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.